Okay. Now, clearly, we could put a platform in like RadVision in the middle, and then we'd be able to scale this out. But really, what we're very much focused on is point-to-point communication between parties. And what we have found for people that are on home networks, okay, it just so happens that my whole group works all over the country, and when I say country, it's the big country. I have someone in the UK and someone in Australia. I mean, we really do have people all over. Is the average home line, if you're really lucky, can do about 1.5 meg to 2 megabits. And after that, you degrade very quickly. So the better the network, clearly the better the audio. Now, my audio and video today, I'm set basically to the lowest quality. Okay, and that deals with home networks, where if you look actually at how much data is going out, it's about 30 kilobytes per video session. Not very high. So Dan, let us move to Huddle Manager. So now really what we're going to do is talk about true ad hoc type communication, where he and I are both going into a conference or a huddle, as we call it, and it's a good question which one he's going to pick out. Let's see. I'm going to guess he's going to say, no, actually I don't. I'll say we'll do demo. He should have told me. So one of the things which we actually found out that's missing, and we'll find out if I guessed right, which I clearly didn't, is we can actually establish the audio and the video and everything else, but when people are just jumping into things, we actually have to bring in IM. Okay? The other thing that we have found is socially, certain folks do not actually want their video ever transmitted. And in a lot of cases, they don't even want audio. They just want to share a screen. And we found that it's very, very social. And when I say social, we have a member of our group who's about 55 years old from the UK. He wants to have nothing to do with anyone that can hear him or see him other than when he wants it done. Okay? So we found Dan. Or we found Krishna. I'm not sure who we found. So here's a case where we can both interact at the same time. And, I will actually bring up IM and show you the other side of this. This is the world of IM. There's Dan. Good. We lost you there, Dan. But Dan and I can both share anything at this point. So one of the things is clearly chat, very different kind of chat, because it doesn't go out and use an IM system. That's actually the tie-in that's going on. But Dan basically can go use a browser. Okay, I basically can say, this is yesterday where I was. I think it was, and there was a Zor bug. Okay, so you can actually, both of us are actually sharing. I see what's going on Dan's screen. He sees what I'm going on, and we're doing this in a very ad hoc manner. So, as I said, the code is under development. The piece that's actually, that is to us is going to be a breakthrough is actually adding VNC. So we actually can go out and start controlling other desktops. Not only the ones that are in the huddle, but think about the following scenario. Doctors want to do remote telemedicine. They don't actually want to have very highly trained people out, but they actually have this basically rolling chest which has blood pressure cuffs, it has cameras on it, it might also have basically various types of devices that will attach to your skin to figure out the electronic response, things like that, all on a cart. And what we're doing right now is trying to figure out how to control that cart. The carts typically are all Windows-based right now, and we're going to get into those carts using VNC and start looking at telehealth. Now, why is this really important? When you think about the number of people around the world that require medical care, and I'll give you a good example. I happened to be in Melbourne about a year and a half ago, and one of the key problems that the administration was talking about is they're responsible for care in the Northern Territories. aka where the Aborigines live. And they don't have enough doctors there, but they do have the machines there. They actually can cause CTs to happen on people. Those then get sent back over communication lines to Melbourne, about 2,000 miles away. So when you start thinking about this is, how can we actually engage two things? One of them is the actual radiologist with the technician in case they have to have certain things done. And then the other side is, how does that radiologist talk to the patient? Now, one of the things that we're doing is we're getting involved with University of North Carolina health system. What they want to do is remote dermatology, because today they actually fly doctors around the state. So what they want to do is be able to take a picture and remotely, as well as they want, let's say, a nurse to palpate something, and they'll immediately see it. And they say in over 80% of the cases, they'll know immediately what it is just by seeing the picture of it and one palpation. So it's really interesting, the uses of this. So Dan is actually showing us another thing. He's showing us basically how we can both write into the same document that's engaged. As you do with Google Docs, where they worry about people just basically coming in on top of each other, we really do the same thing in a much different way. Okay? And now, Dan, where are you? Who knows? Dan? Lord knows where Dan is, because he's left here. Maybe he's already gone to the Brigham. So what I'll do now is actually walk you through a demonstration that's actually, and he's not here either. He's always lost. My demo person. See what I have to deal with on a daily basis? This morning, as a sidebar, Dan doesn't believe in putting service on a machine. And we require version 4 of Safari. So he spent the morning putting on Safari. We'll even send him the URL so he can't get lost. So one of the things, I'll give you the background. Here he comes. He's clearly slower than I am because he doesn't know what I'm doing. And he didn't want to listen. A couple of things. Let's talk about what you're about to see. As people know around the world, it's about 10 years ago now, there were a whole bunch of very large lawsuits pending around the world against all the cigarette companies. One of the first people to get paid off was a group called the Flight Attendants Medical Research Institute. This is all true, by the way. You can go Google it. So FAMRI actually has taken their initial $300 million they got from the payout, and they have sprinkled money all over the world in looking at, number one, getting folks to stop smoking, and then more importantly, besides stop smoking, you also wanted them to start looking at what are the exposures going to be like for folks who have had first and second-hand versions of smoke, attacking their lungs. Second thing, you also wanted to have the largest group possible to see if there was linking with genes or whatever, okay, and lung cancer. So what's actually happened is, and we got to hope that this got fixed yesterday, okay, is first thing that happened, and it's an invalid URL, but I can show you the output data. Dan, I'm glad to see Brian fix that. First thing that really was going on was a questionnaire on, first thing was, do you smoke? Does anyone in your family smoke? In your job, are you exposed to secondhand smoke? And you can go on from there on, do you have chronic pulmonary disease? Do you basically cough a lot, etc.? This is all their data. Now, one of the other things that was required was each of the people actually had pulmonary function tests done. Now, everything that I'm doing here, Dan is seeing. And, if Dan basically wants to click on scans, we'll actually see the scans. Okay?